Today, we are peeling back the curtain on the bizarre, borderline sociopathic world of debt collection. From haunting your social media to calling your boss to ruin your lunch break, you're about to discover 50 things debt collectors can legally do to you that feel like they should be crimes. This is the ultimate guide to the rules of the game. 1. A debt collector can legally call you every single day, up to 7 times within a 7-day window per debt. Imagine having 5 different overdue credit cards. That is 35 calls a week from people who definitely don't want to hear about your weekend plans. They are like a clingy ex who refuses to take a hint, except instead of wanting their hoodie back, they want your entire savings. If your phone is vibrating more than a caffeinated bee, now you know why. It is relentless, exhausting, and perfectly within the rules of the game. 2. They can legally slide into your DMs on Facebook, Instagram, or even TikTok to remind you about that missed car payment. While they aren't allowed to post your financial failures publicly on your wall, they can certainly send a private message that pops up right next to your aunt's cat photos. It is the ultimate digital jump scare. Imagine scrolling through reels of golden retrievers only to see a message from a guy named Gary asking for $3,000. Would you actually reply to a debt collector on Instagram, or would you hit that block button immediately? 3. Debt collectors can contact your friends, family, or even your neighbors, but there is a specific catch to this awkward social experiment. They are only allowed to ask for your location information, meaning your home address, phone number, or where you work. They cannot legally mention the debt or tell your nosy neighbor that you owe money for vintage porcelain dolls. However, just getting a call from a recovery agent is usually enough to get the neighborhood gossip mill churning at maximum capacity. It is a psychological tactic designed to make you pay just to stop the embarrassment. 4. In some jurisdictions, debt collectors can legally seize your pedigreed pets if they are considered high-value assets. While the law usually protects common house cats, a prize-winning show dog or an exotic bird worth thousands is fair game. A sheriff can literally be sent to your home to remove your golden retriever or macaw so it can be sold at a specialized auction. It's a heart-wrenching tactic that treats a family member like a piece of used furniture. Is there a dollar amount that would make you hand over the family dog? 5. Did you know that debt collectors can legally sue you for a debt that is 20 years old? While the statute of limitations usually prevents them from winning a court judgment to garnish your wages after a few years, they can still file the lawsuit and hope you don't show up. If you ignore the summons because you think the debt is expired, they win by default. It is a zombie debt rising from the grave to bite your credit score. They are betting on your laziness or fear, waiting for that one moment of silence to strike with a legal gavel. 6. They can legally contact you at a place of public accommodation, like a hotel or a restaurant, if they know you are staying or working there and can't reach you otherwise. Imagine a waiter bringing a phone to your table during a romantic dinner saying, "There's an urgent call for you," only for it to be Gary asking about your student loans. While they can't scream about your debt in front of other patrons, the sheer audacity of tracking you down at a steakhouse is a power move designed to let you know they are always watching. Would you stay for dessert after that? 7. They can legally use limited content messages, which are essentially voicemails that sound incredibly vague and slightly ominous. These messages don't have to mention that they are debt collectors. They just give a name, a request for a callback, and a reference number. It's designed to pique your curiosity or spark enough anxiety to make you call back just to see what's going on. It's the telemarketing equivalent of a "we need to talk" text from someone you haven't seen in years. 8. In some states, a collector can legally sue you in a remote county that is hours away from where you live. While federal law generally requires them to sue where you live or where you signed the contract, certain loopholes allow them to file in obscure local courts. They are betting on the fact that you won't drive 4 hours to a courthouse in the middle of nowhere to defend a $500 debt. It's a logistical war of attrition where the distance is the weapon, and your absence results in an automatic guilty verdict for your bank account. 9. If you have a joint bank account with someone, like a spouse or a parent, a debt collector with a court judgment can often freeze and seize the entire balance of that account, even if the other person didn't owe a dime. They don't care whose paycheck was deposited on Friday. If your name is on the account, the money is fair game. This often leads to situations where a roommate or partner finds their rent money gone because of their co-holder's old hospital bill. It's a brutal reminder that in the eyes of the law, your shared money is really just their money. 10. Believe it or not, debt collectors can legally contact you through your LinkedIn profile. Since LinkedIn is technically a social media platform, they follow the same rules as Facebook. They can't post on your feed, but they can send a connection request or an in-mail. Nothing says career growth like a notification from a debt recovery specialist while you're trying to network for a new job. It's a specialized form of digital stalking that targets your professional reputation. 11. A debt collector can legally monitor your public social media posts to determine your lifestyle and assets. If you've been telling them you're too broke to pay but then post a photo of your brand new espresso machine or a weekend getaway to Vegas, you've just handed them evidence. They use these wealth cues to decide whether to escalate a lawsuit against you. It is digital detective work at its finest, turning your Instagram feed into a legal deposition. Does knowing a collector might be liking your vacation photos change how much you want to share online? 12. They can legally call you at the crack of dawn or late at night, as long as it falls between 8:00 a.m. and 9:00 p.m. in your time zone. If you live in New York and have a California area code, you might get a wake-up call at 5:00 a.m. because they are following the clock on your phone number. It's a perfectly legal way to ruin your REM cycle. The law assumes everyone operates on a standard schedule, which is great unless you're a night shift worker trying to sleep while Gary from the agency is checking in on his commissions. 13. They can legally seize your intellectual property royalties. If you wrote a book, recorded a song, or patented a small invention years ago, a collector can take over the right to receive those payments. Even if it's just $50 a month from Amazon or Spotify, they become the new author of your income stream indefinitely. It's a form of creative soul-crushing where your past talents are harvested to pay off your old mistakes. Your art literally belongs to the collection agency until the balance hits zero. 14. Debt collectors can legally use spoofing technology to make their caller ID look like a local number. You are much more likely to pick up a call from your own area code than a 1-800 number from Delaware. It's a psychological trick that exploits our natural curiosity and local trust. You think it's the pharmacy or your kid's school, but nope, it's just another request for that 2019 gym membership you never canceled. How many times have you answered a local ghost call only to be met with a cold professional silence before the agent joins the line? 15. Believe it or not, a collector can legally send a field agent to knock on your front door. While they aren't allowed to break in or act like a movie mobster, the sheer physical presence of a stranger on your porch asking for money is terrifying. It's a tactic designed to shatter the digital wall of the telephone. They want you to feel that your home, your ultimate sanctuary, is no longer private. If a stranger in a suit knocked on your door at 7 p.m. just to discuss your debt, would you open it or call the police? 16. If you die with outstanding debt, collectors can legally contact your surviving spouse or the executor of your estate to seek payment. While children aren't usually responsible for a parent's debt, collectors are experts at suggesting that the family should pay out of respect for the deceased's honor. They hunt through probate records like vultures looking for a final meal. It's a macabre side of the business that proves not even the grave offers a total escape from a high-interest credit card balance. It's the ultimate till death do us part, and then some. 17. They can legally monitor your professional licenses and contact the state board that issued them. If you're a nurse, a lawyer, or a plumber, they can use the threat of a reputation hit to pressure you into a settlement. While they can't usually get your license revoked for a private debt, the mere act of them sending legal inquiries to the board that governs your career is enough to cause a panic. It's a strategic strike at your professional heart, making you choose between your savings and your professional peace of mind. 18. Under certain conditions, a collector can legally contact your successor in interest if you've transferred property. If you try to give your house to your cousin to avoid a lien, the debt collector can potentially follow the title and make life very difficult for the new owner. They are like financial bloodhounds with a very long memory and access to public land records. They don't just want your money, they want any asset that was once yours. It turns a simple gift into a legal nightmare for your unsuspecting family members. 19. They can legally report your debt to credit bureaus every single month, keeping the date of last activity fresh and your credit score in the basement. This isn't just about calling you, it's about a silent systemic pressure that prevents you from buying a car, renting an apartment, or getting a mortgage. It's a form of economic exile. They don't need to yell at you over the phone when they can simply flip a digital switch that makes you invisible to the modern banking system. It's the ultimate quiet power move in the collection industry. 20. If you have a federal student loan in default, the government's collectors can legally garnish your tax refund or even your Social Security benefits without a court order. While private collectors usually need to sue you first, the big boss collectors working for the Department of Education have superpowers. They can intercept your safety net money before it even reaches your bank account. It's a sobering reminder that some debts are backed by the full weight of the state. If the government can take your retirement check, is any part of your income truly safe? 21. Debt collectors can legally use predictive dialers that monitor your behavior to figure out exactly when you're most likely to be home and awake. By analyzing patterns of when you've answered in the past, or even when you've simply hit decline, their software builds a profile of your daily life. They aren't just guessing, they are using data science to ensure they catch you at your most vulnerable or annoyed moment. It's like having a stalker who has mastered your Google Calendar. Doesn't it feel a bit eerie knowing a computer program is calculating the best time to ruin your dinner? 22. If you've ever had a payday loan, collectors can legally use your pre-signed voluntary wage assignment to take money directly from your paycheck without ever stepping foot in a courtroom. Unlike a standard garnishment that requires a judge's signature, this is a trap you walked into when you signed the original paperwork. Your HR department might suddenly get a letter demanding a chunk of your earnings, and there is very little they can do to stop it. It's a silent financial ambush that turns your employer into an unwilling collection agent for a high-interest lender. 23. They can legally send you official-looking documents that mimic the appearance of a court summons or a government notice, as long as they include a small disclaimer that it's not actually a legal summons. These papers often arrive in terrifying brown envelopes with bold red stamps like "Urgent Legal Action Pending." The goal is to induce a panic attack so severe that you call them immediately. It's a psychological game of dress-up where the collector plays the role of a government official to scare the money out of your pockets. 24. Did you know that debt collectors can legally contact you through a third-party language service? If you speak a language other than English, they can hire a translator to call you and explain your debt in your native tongue. This isn't out of the kindness of their hearts. It's to ensure there are zero barriers to them getting paid. It's a globalized approach to hounding people, proving that "I don't understand" is not a valid legal defense against an overdue hospital bill. It makes the world feel much smaller when a collector in a different time zone finds a way to speak your language. 25. Collectors can legally use skip tracing tools that give them access to non-public databases, including utility bills, hunting licenses, and even DMV records. If you've moved to a secret cabin in the woods but recently registered a new fishing boat, they will find you. They are essentially private investigators with a singular focus: your wallet. They can see who you live with and where you've been, making going off the grid nearly impossible unless you plan on living in a tent and never using electricity again. How far would you actually go to disappear from a persistent debt buyer? 26. If you owe money to a hospital, collectors can legally place a medical lien on any future personal injury settlement you might receive. Imagine getting into a car accident and winning $50,000 for your pain and suffering, only to have a debt collector swoop in and take half of it because of an unrelated surgery from 3 years ago. They are literally waiting for you to get hurt just so they can get paid. It turns your recovery into their payday, ensuring that even your physical trauma has a silver lining. For them, not for you. 27. They can legally use voice stress analysis during calls to determine if you are lying about your ability to pay. Some high-end collection agencies use software that monitors the micro-tremors in your voice to flag deception for the agent on the line. If the computer thinks you're bluffing about having a low bank balance, the agent will turn up the heat. You are being interrogated by a lie detector built into a headset. It's a level of technological surveillance that feels like it belongs in a spy movie, not a conversation about an unpaid Sears card. 28. Debt collectors can legally buy your debt for pennies on the dollar and then come after you for the full original amount plus interest and fees. This is the entire business model of debt buyers. They purchase a portfolio of thousands of charged-off accounts for a fraction of their value, meaning if they convince even 10% of people to pay, they make a massive profit. You are essentially being chased by a company you never signed a contract with, over money they technically didn't lose. It's the ultimate middleman play in the world of high finance sharking. 29. Debt collectors can legally re-age your account on your credit report if they sell it to another agency, making a 5-year-old debt look like it just happened yesterday. While this is technically a gray area, often bordering on illegal, many bottom-feeder agencies do it anyway, forcing you to spend months filing disputes with credit bureaus to fix it. It's a form of credit score sabotage that keeps you trapped in a cycle of high interest rates. It's essentially a digital smear campaign, designed to force you into a settlement, just to make the new old debt go away. 30. In some states, a debt collector can legally trigger a process leading to a debtor's exam. And if you fail to show up to that court date, a judge can issue a warrant for your arrest. To be clear, you aren't going to jail for being broke. That went out of style in the 1800s. But you are going to jail for contempt of court. It's a terrifying loophole where a missed credit card payment effectively turns into a police encounter. It turns a financial dispute into a criminal game of hide-and-seek where the prize is a set of handcuffs. 31. Debt collectors can legally use cell tower triangulation data purchased from third-party data brokers to pinpoint your general vicinity. While they can't see your exact GPS coordinates like a spy movie, they can buy anonymized location clusters that tell them you spend 40 hours a week at a specific office building. They then use this to confirm you're still employed and where to send the process servers. It is a high-tech hunt where your own smartphone acts as a digital breadcrumb trail, leading the hunters straight to your cubicle. 32. They can legally use psychographic profiling to tailor their scripts specifically to your personality type. By analyzing your public social media presence and shopping history, they can categorize you as the avoider, the people pleaser, or the fighter. If they think you're a people pleaser, the agent will act like a disappointed friend to guilt trip you into paying. If you're a fighter, they'll use cold, robotic legal jargon to intimidate you. You aren't just talking to a caller. You're talking to a professional manipulator using a psychological blueprint of your brain. 33. They can legally contact you via Telegram or WhatsApp, provided they identify themselves properly. As communication shifts away from traditional landlines, the law has adapted to let them follow you into your encrypted safe spaces. While they can't spam you or use harassing language, the mere presence of a debt collector in your private messaging apps feels like an invasion of the highest order. It turns your secure chat history into a ledger of your financial struggles. It's a bold move that brings the collection agency right into your pocket, 24/7. 34. In some states, they can legally place a property lien on your home, even for a small credit card debt. This means you can't sell or refinance your house without paying them off first. You might not even know the lien exists until years later when you're trying to move to a new city. They essentially become a silent co-owner of your house, waiting patiently for the day you decide to sell so they can swoop in and take their cut of your equity. They are the ultimate uninvited house guests who never leave. 35. They can legally occupy your business as a shadow manager through a court-appointed receivership. Instead of just taking your money, they take your keys. A receiver steps in, sits in your office, and monitors every single transaction, from the coffee you buy for the break room to the salaries you pay. They aren't there to help you grow. They are there to bleed the profit directly into the collection bucket. You become an employee in your own company, working for the very people who are trying to bankrupt you. It's professional gaslighting at the highest legal level. 36. They can legally monitor obituary notices and marriage announcements to find new leads. If you get married and change your name to hide from old debts, they'll find the public record of the marriage license and link your new identity to your old social security number. Or if a relative passes away, they'll watch to see if you inherit any property that they can seize. They are like financial vultures, circling the most significant and emotional milestones of your life, waiting for a chance to turn your family's history into their financial gain. 37. Debt collectors can legally use virtual credit cards, or one-time payment portals that are designed to trick you into authorizing recurring payments. You might think you're making a one-time good faith payment of $20, but the fine print, which the agent conveniently forgot to mention, signs you up for a monthly withdrawal that drains your account every payday. By the time you notice, they've already taken hundreds of dollars. It's a digital trapdoor that turns a small olive branch into a total financial takeover. Have you ever clicked agree on something without reading every single word? 38. They can legally reach out to your authorized users on a credit card. If you put your college-age son on your card so he could buy groceries, the collector can call him and put pressure on him, even if he isn't legally responsible for the debt. They know that a parent will do almost anything to stop their child from being harassed by aggressive callers. It's a form of collateral harassment that targets your loved ones to get to you. It's low, it's dirty, and in many cases, it's perfectly legal as long as they don't lie. 39. In some states, they can legally garnish your wedding gift registry. If you have a digital honeymoon fund where guests contribute cash via Venmo or a registry site, a collector with a judgment can freeze those accounts. Your friends and family think they are sending you to Hawaii, but they are actually just paying down your 2018 car loan. Imagine the sheer awkwardness of writing thank you notes for gifts that were legally hijacked before you could even buy a suitcase. Would you tell your guests where their money really went? 40. In certain cases, if you owe a debt to a utility company, a collector can legally work with the provider to prevent you from opening a new account at a different address. They essentially blacklist your name in a shared industry database. You could move 3 towns over, but when you try to turn the lights on in your new apartment, the company demands you pay the old collector first. They hold your basic human needs, like heat and water, hostage until you settle up. How much is a hot shower worth to you when you're being squeezed for every penny? 41. Debt collectors can legally use image recognition AI to scan the background of your social media photos for high-value items. If you post a selfie in the garage and there's a classic motorcycle or a high-end mountain bike in the corner, they can log that asset for a future seizure attempt. They aren't looking at your smile. They're looking at your stuff. It's like having a digital burglar who uses the law instead of a crowbar. 42. In some cases, collectors can legally place a till tap on a small business you own. This means a sheriff literally walks into your shop, stands at the cash register, and takes every dollar that comes in from customers until your personal debt is satisfied. It is the ultimate public humiliation for an entrepreneur. Your customers are watching as the law empties your drawer in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon. It's a brutal, old-school tactic that proves they can reach across the counter and snatch your livelihood right out of your hands. 43. If you thought your workplace was a safe haven from financial stress, think again, because debt collectors can legally call you at your job. They can keep dialing your office extension until you or your employer explicitly tell them, preferably in writing, that personal calls are prohibited. There is nothing quite like the adrenaline rush of having your boss hand you the phone saying it's for you, only to hear a polite stranger asking for your credit card details. It is a high-stakes game of professional chicken. How would you handle a debt collector calling your boss's desk to find you? 44. In several states, debt collectors can legally target your cemetery plots as seizable real estate. If you've pre-purchased a burial site for yourself or your family, a collector can argue in court that it is an unnecessary luxury asset. They can force a sale of your future resting place to the highest bidder on the open market. It is a grim, cold-blooded tactic that proves they aren't just following you to the grave. They are willing to sell the grave out from under you. 45. If you are an influencer or a gig worker, collectors can legally subpoena the platforms you work for, like Uber, Etsy, or YouTube, to freeze your digital wallet. They don't have to wait for the money to hit your bank account. They can intercept it at the source. Your payout button suddenly stops working because a legal hold has been placed on your earnings by a company you've never met. It's a digital blockade that cuts off your cash flow before you can even touch it, proving that even the gig economy isn't a safe harbor from old creditors. 46. They can legally use adversarial linguistics to trick you into admitting the debt is yours over the phone. They might intentionally state the wrong amount or the wrong date, hoping you'll correct them. The second you say, "No, I didn't owe $5,000 in 2021, it was $3,000 in 2022," you have legally verified the debt. You've just handed them the evidence they need to win a court case on a silver platter. It's a linguistic trap where your honesty is the bait and a court judgment is the hook. 47. In certain jurisdictions, collectors can legally request a body attachment if you ignore a court order related to a debt. While it sounds like something from a sci-fi horror movie, it's actually a civil warrant that allows the police to bring you into court by force. You aren't being arrested for the debt, but you are being attached and transported to answer questions about your assets. It's a terrifying experience that turns a civil matter into a ride in the back of a squad car. How would you explain to your neighbors why the police are escorting you to talk about a credit card? 48. Collectors can legally use artificial intelligence and automated chatbots to pursue you. These bots are programmed to be infinitely patient, never get tired, and never lose their temper. They can send thousands of perfectly timed texts and emails designed to wear down your willpower through sheer mathematical persistence. You aren't even fighting a human anymore. You're fighting an algorithm optimized to find the exact moment you're most likely to cave. Would you find it more or less stressful to negotiate your financial future with a robot instead of a human? 49. If you are an elite gamer with a high-value inventory, collectors can legally seize your digital skins and rare in-game items. Courts are increasingly treating Steam, Counter-Strike, or Dota 2 accounts as liquidatable property. If your virtual knife or dragon skin sniper rifle is worth $20,000, a collector can get a court order to take control of your account and sell your loot to pay off your credit card. Imagine logging in for a match only to find your character is naked because a law firm officially looted your digital backpack. Alright, we have covered 49 points and only one remains. But before we hit number 50, it is time for the final verdict. In our opinion, the award for the most diabolical tactic goes to the till tap. Why? Because it is the ultimate public humiliation. Having a sheriff walk into your business and empty the cash drawer in front of customers is a brutal, old-school move that destroys reputations instantly. Do you agree? Or did the thought of seizing a family pet take the top spot? 50. The most shocking legal reality is that a collector can legally sell your debt to another company while you're in the middle of a settlement negotiation with them. You could spend months working out a deal, only to have the debt sold to a new, more aggressive agency that refuses to honor the previous verbal agreement. You're back at square one, but now with a fresh set of harassers. It's a never-ending cycle of financial musical chairs where the music only stops when you finally pay the full amount or declare bankruptcy. We've seen that the law turns your phone, home, and even your digital reputation into a hunting ground. Collectors have a massive toolkit of psychological weapons to ensure they get their cut. Knowing your rights is your only real shield. Have you ever had a run-in with a debt collector, and if so, how crazy did it get? Like if this opened your eyes and subscribed to stay ahead of the system.